So let's delve a little deeper into sourcing of opportunities, also known as prospecting. David, walk us through the specific actions required there.
Phil, there's really 4 specific areas in which advisors and practitioners can grow their business. Number 1, self-sourcing, and understanding self-sourcing and finding the value for building the prospect and the suspect and sourcing those, where they hang out, where they play their golf games, where they play tennis, or any other opportunity they might have. Second is external centers of influences. Could be CPAs, could be tax advisors, could be an attorney in market, real estate professionals, anybody external to the organization in which is your firm. Third is internal centers of influences. It could be a commercial lender, a business banker, a retirement income planning specialist, somebody from your organization internally that might know and can be able to introduce you to other opportunities in which they work with. And then last but not least, number 4 is current client introductions. Introductions from a client that you're working with that really truly understands what it is that you and the team can deliver, that can introduce you, not refer you to another opportunity. Those 4 are the biggest way advisors and practitioners can grow their practice.
And David, let me add that I think that it bears reminding of what we're really trying to look for as we're using those 4 opportunities. You know, it's the profile of that ideal client, that client that we really want to serve, but it's also recognizing that we don't try to be all things to all people. We want to be able to focus on and deliver that particular level to that right person. And as we put them in the top of the pipeline, and know that we begin to develop the opportunity to serve them, it gives us the focus on delivering what's so important and maintaining as we begin to build that relationship to a long-term type of engagement.
But I'm feeling a rather, compelling need to bring this back to the real world, where in the financial services industry overall, over a period of years, most financial advisory practices on a yearly basis lose 2 clients to either competition or death, and pick up 2. Your competition isn't really active in this area, and this is a place where you really have a tremendous opportunity. Daniel, you probably more so than anyone I've ever met could walk people through how to make this real.
Well, we've got to get down to brass tacks at some point and think about what are we really looking for. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, this becomes sort of a randomized series of activities, hoping that they're going to get some additional activity out of that. I really like to go about it from a game plan standpoint. Let's start, number 1, with what do we want as production for the year, right? That's our bottom line goal. That may be a goal set by our company. I love it. One of the top producers that I was working with one time said, well, my company goal is this, but my family goal is that. And that was a higher number. I said, could you explain to me the difference between them? He said, well, my wife and I sit down together every year and we decide how much income we want to have. And we back our way into the level of production I need to do in order to get there. And both of us work as a team to be able to get to that goal, even though I'm the only one at the job or working at the job on a daily basis. And so really interesting. You've got to clearly understand what is your objective in production. Okay, I can see how much of that production comes from the existing work that I have, but how much do I expect to come from new client relationships? Once I define that piece of it, it's critical for me to understand on average, keep in mind, we're not trying to put everybody into one bucket here, but let's face it, on average, what is the average typical size of a relationship that I bring on? Because we're trying to identify numbers here. We're not trying to say everybody's a little bit different, I'll have bigger relationships and smaller. So what's the average new relationship size that I'm going to bring into my practice? So if you take production, divide it by the average production of that new client, then that tells me very clearly how many people I need to find, right? So if I know how many people that I need to find, how many new clients I've got to be able to bring into my practice, and I divide that by my closing ratio, another thing a lot of people don't know. So if I know what my closing ratio is, go back to what David was talking about, some activities are more effective than others based on the kind of practice that I'm in. I take that closing ratio, divide the number of new clients that I have, that tells me how many new prospects I need to be able to bring in. And so if I want to break that down into weekly or monthly basis, now I have a specific objective when I'm prospecting. I need to find this many new qualified opportunities to talk to new people in order to be able to get those production levels. It also tells me one other thing, and by the way, these formulas are all in your materials, but it tells me one very, very important thing. If you look at the only 2 levers in that formula, lever number 1 is going to be the average size of the clients that you work with. So this is why profile is so important, because you change that profile and upscale the average